Alright peeps, welcome back to Split City episode 8. You join us here for a big snow melty speedy upstart to the episode. And the uni students have installed some traffic monitoring equipment around Terrace Hills and Evergreen Swamp. And they say they've got some bloody interesting finds that we need to sort out like. I know that there's no more snow in view. Let's step back onto the roof here, gone through our little door into the uni, and have quite the enlightened session there with the boffins. Oh, look at this view, man. Got a uni student walking down the path onto the secondary path to go and educate themselves. And we unlocked the Ackett Palmer mansion. James Palmer was a wealthy local businessman who headed a chain of whiskey and bourbon distilleries. This mansion stands to attest that it adds grandeur and wealth to the local area with its unique Second Empire Baroque style. I ain't half headache, and we'll have to get that plot doing at some point, like. Now the students are here at the Terrace Hills Modern University. Like I say, they installed traffic monitoring equipment. Hang on, why isn't there power? What's the crack? Not enough electricity. I mean, I know that, but don't we just import lecky? Hang about. How are we almost making enough lecky for this entire bloody city? We only have one little bloody coal farm going on here. Has there been an update? Do we no longer import or something? I'm pretty sure I don't have to have this on to import bloody lecky, like. You know, why aren't we importing any lecky here? Big issue. We somehow have lecky flowing out the map. How are you exporting 805 effing kilowatts? You know what? I'm just going to switch this off. We're not going to produce any lecky whatsoever. So surely the game is going to just have to import lecky now. We're importing lecky! Woohoo! Right. Let's see the lecky come in. Oh, where we're importing it from. Well, it makes sense we're not importing it from the same pipe we're exporting it. They probably need lecky. But where is our lecky coming from? Oh, our here. Let's get into the residential bit. It needs to real casually pass through, like. Just real casually, you know, we've got an unpowered bit of the city there. Well, I think it might be time to bulldoze a couple of these and then casually replace them. Replop. Now are you going to work? Is the lecky going to flow through to the grafter split there? Please flow through to the grafter split. Oh, we've got any high voltage bloody terminals over here. Neither one that's not going to go now. I use this, but this has to be switched off. Now, what is our money situation here on the lecky? At the moment, we're doing better than if we had the coal power plant running, I'll say that. But I don't think we've got a full whack of import fees yet. So let's switch this back on and see if it completely breaks our lecky chain here and if it stops importing. Oh, look at that, we're exporting again. Alright, now what? The bulldozer's out. Be gone! And if we have a look at our high power line coming in here, I think if we just real casually demolish this little business here, just a quick blippity plop, it automatically connected in, and we have power here, or at least for the most part. What's this dog park whinging about? Not enough lecky. We need to get importing some more than in that case. At least we are actually bringing the import in here. Are we getting lecky from both angles? Lecky from the right for the grafter split, lecky from the left for this terraces. Still not enough apparently. It's the same buildings that are having problems though. Why aren't we bringing in enough lecky? Can you only import like 28.55 megawatts or something? Is that all that's allowed? Because Old Bay can bring in 40 here, so you know what? I'm actually not going to worry about it. This is not what this episode is about in the slightest. Feck you, lecky. We'll get to it when we get to it. Yous can just live in the dark ages in the corner here. This episode is all about radical road rejigs, thanks to the boffins over here. And part of those rejigs are a little bit of dezoning. We were going to do this a little bit later, but we're just going to go ahead and do it now. No buildings up in here, or anywhere along here. Emergency street needs to be open for emergency vehicles for now. Over in the unpowered corner of the terrace here, we're going to unfortunately get rid of your house, say goodbye. And we have big plans for this area, so say goodbye to your zoning. Apart from your buildings that are already zoned in, you can stay for now. It'll make sense why you get spared at some point. Now the boffins did strangely insist that I started work hour here, right outside the uni. Not sure how coincidental that is. However, we're going to crack on with it. We are going to have to remove all zoned properties from this little row here. So the only properties that remain are the owl terraces. Historic terraces. Not these snidey terraces that have been plopped on afterwards. Or these millionaire terraces here with the big lanky gardens. Only the historical terraces are allowed to remain. And if the boffins had their way, they'd be gone and all. And now that we have all of these buildings dezoned and out the way, completely naturally, I think it's about time we do a little bit of landscaping over here, wouldn't you say? Oh, I think the land would agree as it bloody disappears onward. But you got a big bloody hill there. You can doing a bit there, and then all kicks off our the servo up the top there, like. So now that we know what we need to keep, let's make this land a little bit nicer, shall we? Alright, now the landscaping looks a lot nicer out here, doesn't it? A nice tidy little bit of green space between the schools here. We've got the old Dorman Elementary School and the Terrace Hills Uni. Not forgetting the oft-forgotten bloody collage over here by the bookstore. That's squeezed in there nice and tidily. And so those buildings gone. It looks like we just have some sort of trade bug. Or maybe you're not allowed to completely rely on outside connections. But I have a feeling these buildings that don't have power are bloody bugged. We're not going to worry about that. What we're going to do is plop a path down here, connecting right in like that. And I actually wanted to create a little crossing there, because we're going to be deleting this path here and this path here. There's going to be big changes happening to this area. And probably the biggest change is this old alleyway here. We've seen it get clogged up with traffic. That's not on anymore. Be gone, alleyway. All the way down to the main alleyway at the bottom there. Look at this lovely green strip we've got here. Going all the way down. Now we need to do a little bit of landscaping over here. Get this 125 metre mark. Bring it all the way out. Create a nice little tidy platform. And I'm going to take the slope terrain tool from the 125 metres there to the 130 metres here. And gone all the way down the middle. And now that that's all levelled out, if we're going down here, you'll be able to see that it's made a wonderful difference. Look at how smooth that descent is now. The hobbledy-bobbledy hills around. And damn, look at all of these citizens having a great old time leaving the city because all of their high-density housing got demolished. If you take long enough to get to the bus stop, there will be more housing for you. Maybe. Let's finish up our landscaping here. We want to do 125 up to this 133 here. And just smooth it on out. There we go, we've got a tidy little ramp up there now. A lot nicer than it was, at least, if naught else. And to be fair, from here, with the trees blocking it, it actually looks like a fairly stable little ramp. But the reason we demolished this alleyway is we had a lot of people using it, and this is the shocking part, to go up around the top of this roundabout, gone across into the old evergreen swamp, gone all the way down here, around all these unpowered buildings to get on and off the motorway, when they've got their own set of slip roads right here that connect in. But the issue is, to get there, you have to go through Terrace Hills, this crazy estate here. Ideally, you get up to this intersection, because you shouldn't be taking this, it's a pedestrian path, remember. So you have to make your way through this grid onto the main frontier and then all the way up here through all of this nonsense to get onto it. And people were deciding it was quicker and easier to go through Evergreen Swamp there. So to alleviate that issue, we're going to pop a highway right in between these two terraces here. The homeowners are buzzing about it. Now we want to start off properly in the middle, connecting onto this alleyway here. Alright, tidy little 90. We're going to be coming down to minus 2.5 metres, and I want a constant slope on this bad lad. It looks like we're going to have to do snapping off to get this in the middle of these houses, like. I want to be as precise as possible, as in getting the 620 metre long bit of motorway precisely in the middle of these two houses here, at a minus 1.3% gradient. Now, if we can down. Look at that majestic little bit of motorway there. Imagine zooming out here with your fresh new way to get out of the city. I suppose the only thing we need to do now is actually connect it up to the motorway underneath Hickory Street here. So we're going to come at 180 degrees. Then we're going to come right close to the edge here. Turn snapping on. And I want to connect to give plenty of room for cars to switch lanes to get into whatever lane they need to get onto the slip roads there. And I think that is bloody plenty of room, didn't ye? Why are you come flying down the motorway here? You do a mild little right turn, a little bit of an uphill action, and straight onto the motorway. Well, that is bloody perfect if you ask me. The only thing the boffins insisted I done was get the sound barriers out and get this bit of motorway absolutely sound barriered. Something about it was the only way it was actually going to get past planning permission. Something about noise pollution, something or other, I don't know. What I do know is we've got cars using it already, and the people in these houses are none the wiser. The people on the motorway can see a bit of hedge action, but from the actual garden itself, you've just got this lovely bit of modern architecture to look at. And it's quieter than it's ever been. Now we do have some homeowners having a bit of a whinge here, but that's now a little bit of move it won't sort. And that's those homeowners happy there. Nobody's having a whinge. Tell you what, I absolutely love this view of the motorway going straight in this back alley like. Back alley turned motorway, what's not to love about it? Now if you thought the back alley motorway was mental, we're only just getting started here, peeps. It's time to unveil some custom roads that are built in. And this is one of my proudest little creations yet. 5-lane asymmetrical with red middle. AKA the reason we had to demolish all the high residency housing up here. Now the cop shop is on the road a little bit. We'll sort that. Never worry. We'll get it sorted. But for now, we need to finish upgrading all of these roads, didn't we? So of course we've got the hospital hour here, the cop shop and the firehouse. They're going to be coming to the emergency services street, straight into their own lane in the middle of the road there. A lane which continues up this side here. And if we do another 90-degree rotate, we're going to have to pop it in here as well, but not this way round. We're going back on ourselves here. And we have to be careful when we upgrade this bit of road, because we have permanent buildings on either side there, so we need to make sure we have paths sticking out there on both sides of the street. And I reckon a roundabout here has paths on both bits of the street. Why, look at that. Bit of a skinny path on this side, but look, it's enough room for pedestrians to get by. It's just like any big city street, innit? So now we've got 3 sides of our emergency service square here. What about this side? There isn't really a completed angle there. It all splits off and connects onto our main route. And we've got the back alley highway here. But we do want to create a quick link here using Autumn Street. And I do have another tidy little custom road to show yous. It's the 3-lane asymmetrical with red middle. Now, thankfully, we can just do a regular old snapping on upgrade here. Gone all the way down to the bottom. And that's our 4th little line in. And now that we're at the bottom alleyway, we'll whip out a brand new 1-way 2-lane alley red middle. And this one we unfortunately have to go and snapping off with. I'm going to come all the way from this little intersection here. Come left, left, left. And try and line this up as perfectly as I can, so nobody gets upset. That looks about right. Why, spot on. And then we've got the connection out there. Now I am going to break up this connection a little bit because, if you have a look, I can't upgrade this little lane here to be a public transport / emergency lane. So, get bulldozed and get replaced with a straight up public transport lane in there. And look, pedestrians can walk on the side of the bus lane there, so that's retaining pedestrian access perfectly. While we're doing here, why don't we follow these arrows out? Upgrade this bit of lane to be emergency services. But not to the right here. And the reason I'm not concerned about getting a dedicated emergency services lane here is it really doesn't service that much. If you exclude the college, you know. Doesn't really service that much. Now from here, we're going to get into a regular old 4-lane street. And we need to leave snapping on. And ideally, I don't want to like shift this little fire station much. So we're going to stay on line with a fire station. Upgrade that. And then the actual emergency services street here. We already have a big old elementary school and a bloody hospital on here, so we're going to have to keep it on that line there. Upgrade all the way along, connecting into the roundabout here. And yeah, now this cop shop is whinging a fair bit now, aren't they? A fair bit. But we'll not worry about that just yet, you see. People can use that middle lane and then cut out after wish. And I might want to real casually move these nodes about, because they're really badly intersecting here. Well, that should be better. All we have to do now is find the same roundabout. And if you didn't know, just replacing the roundabout there recenters it and everything. Although we still have dodgy little connections, that's annoying as that, like. Just the paths going across, it's just, you know, awfully annoying and slightly bugged. But we'll get to sorting that whenever we get to moving this DE police station. For now, I want to finish my little emergency service lanes all the way across here to the hospital. So the ambos can get straight out. Yeah, look at that. I deleted the bloody roundabout and it's an absolute state. And there we go. That looks a little bit nicer. Can I plop the roundabout back on? Why, I can. And it even looks marginally reasonable. I'll take that, like. Well, like I say, we will be coming to this. We'll sort of this little lip. This is temporary construction work. If you've ever driven down a road that's been resurfaced, you get a lip. We'll put a sign up to warn people about it. So now that we've got our emergency services lane here, which the emergency services always use, it's time to sort out the side streets. And as you can see, these side streets, they've got small roads on them. They're fairly closely packed together. Surely there's no way we can fit a 5-lane asymmetrical red middle in there. Surely not. Into that, I say surely we can. Look at that. Wide enough paths for pedestrians and everything. And that gives a direct link for the emergency services to go down in any one of these terraces that has a side split coming off it. So let me get around and replace all these lanes here, top and bottom. Blah, 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 blah. And there we have all of our emergency service accesses. And I did realise when I started moving there that looked really bad. So there you go. Oh, thank you, autosave. Make it look extra bad. But there you go. Little access roads in for all the emergency services. And we only have a few more little emergency service lanes to knock about before we're completely done with this. First bit, we're going to be upgrading this road here to be asymmetric. It absolutely needs to be asymmetric. Not one of me fancy roads, just like it actually needs to be asymmetric. Look at the state of the traffic on there, man. 2 lanes in for 2 lanes out. Not 1 lane in for 2 lanes out. But this lane here is going to be emergency services, of course. And it's going to have its own connection off the side of the back alley motorway. Look at that beautiful little split. Ain't she a beaut? And this is not the broad highway. This is the emergency services shortcut. Now let's see how best to dress this up here. Ideally, we just plonk some bloody sound barriers on the side, but how will it go on? Oh yeah, now that looks bloody fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I love it, right? Happy days. Before we have too many cars taking this exit, let's upgrade it to a proper emergency services lane, like that. And because that does sweet FA, I'm going to do this little make it unsafe. And making that unsafe does marginally A, as you can see by one car still going up there. Now before we move on to our final bit of emergency service laneage, we're going to have to tackle this. This is a traffic producing nightmare. As well as, well, it being a tad lumpy and bumpy, you know. Not the most desirable. Especially in a lovely estate like this. Read at the back of the map where you're not going to have any expansion on your hills. It's just pure forest all the time. And if you've noticed so far, I haven't paused while doing any of this construction, knocking out roads and that. I've decided to challenge myself here. I want to be a tad realistic. You can't just pause time and build your new road. You have to supply motorists with alternate routes. And if I delete this roundabout here, apart from that beautiful little super node there, that mwah, 10 out of 10, you can see I have a one-way system set up here, where you come in this road, you go ooh to here, and you go down here, right onto the corner there. And that does cause a little bit of an issue for anybody living in any of these estates, including this big long one down here. Because you have to go up all the way through here just to get home. Imagine if you're coming out the motorway tunnel and you live here. You see your house and you're like, oh my god, I have to drive all the way around here just to get home. And when I start deleting roads over here in about 30 seconds time, that's going to cause a problem for all of these residents. So, why don't we go ahead, temporarily upgrade this road here with a 3-lane asymmetric number. A little like that. Now we have an access route there up to the side for the residents of this whole estate, because this is a 2-way street, yeah, as you can see. And since we very conveniently have nothing zoned on these streets, that's as much care and effort as we need to give. Be deleted, be deleted, be deleted, and finally, be deleted. Now I am going to jump straight back in and replace this road here. I just didn't want to use Move It Mod to make it shorter. Oh, we have some issues with power and water. Let's quickly get this road back in. Just to there, that'll do. And then, yes, we need to reconnect some lines. Low voltage power. Low voltage power! Get on me bloody connection! This is what I said when why did I just now? See, I wasn't going to pause. Let me connect you straight down here, because this street's not going to change. I've just upgraded it to beyond recognition. Surely I won't be doing that again anytime soon. And then I want to do the same with this little pipe connection. Connect onto there. Now everybody... Oh! Everybody should get food and water. Maybe we do a speed 3. There we go. Everybody's got food, water, and lecky. Apart from the bug tools is doing there. You know what? I didn't like the gap on the side here. I'm going to sort that out right here, right now. By deleting the road again. But this time, doing a casual bit of landscaping, you know. Now we got your street back in. Everyone's happy. The servo's gotten out, but we already organised it with them. The servo's going to put up with it for all the new business they're going to get. And the fact we're going to use their level to level this ground here for a brand new custom roundabout. Now what do you think, Mac 4000 owners? How do you like your nice flattened bit of ground here? Alright, so now it's time to pop our new and upgraded roundabout in. It's going to start with a tiny little straight bit, only 21.9 metres, you know, not even 22 metres long. And then we're going to have it come around, double back on itself. Realise that I'm going to have to turn snapping off to get this at 180 degrees, and instead of messing around with snapping over there, we're going to come run 90 degrees on this side. Oh my god, the snapping is ridiculous over here. Doesn't matter which side you're coming it from. Alright, snapping off. At least I've got some angles to gun off this time. Need to set it at 90 degrees, and then hope that that's straight. And I may have had to mess around and move it for a bit, but that is a tidy little rectangle about there. Now all we need to do is connect this rectangle about up to all these different connections here. Now standing at the end of this connection here, I have a feeling it might be a good idea to do a little bit of terraforming, you know, just a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Between this bit of road and that bit of rectangle about there. And I'm going to be very simple about it. We're 138 metres here, 134 here, let's just go straight up Make a tidy, nice, wide little bit of landscape to get up in there. And now from the same vantage point you can see, that's going to be a much nicer hill to build a road on. And that's good, because we're going to have to build 2 roads on here, because this is a 2-lane number. And I'm going to switch down to alleys for these connecting lanes. First one's going to connect in right like that. The second one is the funky one. We have to come with 180 degrees, then dip out, and then dip back in with it looking too messy. So how does that look? That could look alright, you know. Maybe a little bit of shifting about with the movement mod, but that could look alright. Now that we've got this street connected up to the rectangular boots, why don't we move on to this street that is a bit up a height? And I don't want to do a lot of landscaping here because it's a little natural mountainside. I want to try and keep as much of it as possible, you know. Now for this arm, I want to come out here, basically straight with the road there, and then come around to here and connect in a little something like this. Now that looks nice and palatable. How we're looking? Ooh, I like that. That's a tasty little hillside wind there. Now before we tackle coming off this road here, this is only a 1-lane road and it's on. So let's quickly do this one while it's nice and simple, shall we? Now to connect into this bit of road here, we're going to come off right here. We're going to come down past so we can nip back up and then straighten up by the time we get in there. And that is a lovely little connection off the rectangular boot there. And here's what's going to be one of my favourite little connection onto the rectangular boot, if I can make it look nice. No doubt you've noticed this big hill that we're working around here. And with this road already being nearly on top of that big hill, I'm thinking about sending a road up here, out this little connection, and connecting it to the back there nice and tidily. So why didn't we give that a go? And actually, first off, where are you thinking you're going, pal? You're patrolling down here, you know. Let's turn the hood off just so we can see you go and despawn a bit better. I mean, see where you end up? Exactly, mate, exactly. Why did you drive up there? But anywho, enough watching coppers drive up the road and despawn. Let's get our little alleyway out here. I'm just creating a little flat spot at the top here. Only size 10 on the brush, now crazy. Then I'm going to go into slope terrain. See, I want to be up to 150 by this point. And I want to start after this tree. So coming up here and sliding our way up. That is perfect. A nice tidy little bit of terraforming for her. So now all we need to do is come out and sort of follow that the best we can there. I messed with the terraforming a bit just to make sure I can get up to the height here. Now we should be alright. Aye, and we're up the tippity top. I had an issue where I kept cutting in because I was going too far. But now begins the fun bit. We need to come out, across, and in just like that. And has it created a bridge? Has it? Heck. Alright, let's sort this out. I have a feeling if I go upgrade this to a bridge, it's going to upgrade the whole thing all the way across, and I don't quite want that. As much as it's nice enough there, this doesn't need to be a bridge on the right-hand side now, does it? So let's whip out our handy-dandy gravel road, plop it in there. That will allow us to upgrade this rear section to be a key. And then naturally we use the movement mod to bring the bridge out a little bit more, you know, just so it's a bit more how you're going there. And what's with the pipes? Do we have pipe issues again? Why are you now whinging? You weren't whinging before I moved that road. Are you what? This is what happens when you reuse your old pipe connections. Let's put new pipes in, that's what I say. And everyone will be able to flush the shites away in no time. Ian, that's it? That's it? For all of the major connections on the rectangular boot. That is it? They're all in. Now, of course, we need to do a little bit of tidying up here. This little peak is a bit too peakish for a road. And we do have to install our tidy little alleyways here. However, because we can't upgrade alleyways to be public transport / emergency services roads, we're going to be building this straight with the public transport roads here. Connecting in a little something like that. And now we finally have emergency transport / red lanes up in here. Now, real quickly, I need to come in here and be like, just remove all connections. You know what? Remove all connections. Anybody that thought you were going to cheat, aye, turn back around. Aye, get yourselves back around, little 3-pointer on the bridge. Dirty little cheaters. Now, we'll get our actual connections back up in here, so people can use the rectangular boot and whatnot. But for the rest of these connections, they're unsafe. Which is why I don't care about how hectic this little left turn is here. It's unsafe and should only be used by emergency services. Keyword there, of course, being a should. But now we have our beautiful rectangular boot in place. We just need to real casually tidy up a thing or two here or there, you know. So let me do that, either in a jump cut or... And there we have it. What do you think? We rectangular boot. I basically keyed it all up apart from this little bit of triangle here, because I reckon we can do some fancy bush action on there. And of course, there's no keys gone onto the servo because you need to access the bloody servo. And for now, I've left this bit keyless because I was like, maybe I can make it look good. But we're going to have to come back to making that look good. But like I say, I made it all key walls. So I could do things like level this bit of ground out to the UK shopping centre mixed residential units here. We've got a nice level bit of ground. And a tidy hill that goes up to the next level there instead of a big cliff. But yeah, no, I bloody love this. I love this little road that goes over the top. I love the fact that this road splits off here for different accesses. And it's only made possible by the unique topography of this little hillside here. Now, of course, you can see some of my custom intersections got reset while I was doing all of that. So let me go around here and set this up very nicely. And there we have the rectangular boot in all of its glory. So we'll start over here, next to the school in the old shopping district, in the old historic houses. The left lane, Olive Lane, takes you just to the left, continues as Olive Lane, up all the way into this little housing estate here, where we're going to see your truck do your dodgy little U-turn for no reason. Because that van could have just went in the right lane there and skirted all the way round wherever they wanted to go to. Now we do have the lanes splitting off, like I say, you have to be in the correct lane here to get around. Look, old mate's back again. You could have just been in the right lane coming off there, mate. What a numpty. But anyway, if you're on the right lane, you can either exit or continue about to either of these two lanes here and then just knock about. We have priorities, so coming onto the roundabout, you have to give way. You know what? You even have priority as you're coming round the roundabout, just to ensure everything flows bloody smoothly here. Or at least as smoothly as it should on a rectangular boot. And now with this beauty in, it's time to fully suss out our emergency services network here. Now we may as well start from the shortcut since we're already over here. Oh, that's right. Real quickly first, I gotta go through and remove all the traffic lights off all of these intersections here. No traffic lights allowed. Not in my split city. And of course you can't forget removing all of the crossings, because look at all of the crossings knocking about on this main bit of road here, clogging up traffic. Even though there's no traffic being clogged up, just ignore that. But I do like the crossing there right on the motorway entrance. I'll leave that in. So our emergency services shortcut has access left and right, but for the sake of visuals, I'm going to leave this on a proper nice little access for the red line. This little spaghetti junction here, once we remove all the spaghetti, we need to correct which lane it goes into, and generally just sort the rest of this intersection out so it's all nice and smooth. So if you're turning left here, you can go into either one of these non-emergency lanes. You've even got a right turn here or a left turn up. It's a tidy little intersection, that. Priorities wise, the main drag's got the priority. Just in case anyone's wondering, unsafe to the left there off these side pedestrian alleys, and that's how I set up the alley connections. Now if we follow this main road down here, all the way to the bippity bottom, we'll get to a nice little intersection section. We may as well start at the right, remove all of this nonsense, take this right turn into the correct lane so we get the red lane. I will also add an unsafe into every other lane, just because, you know, emergency services, we need them to be able to get round. So for this intersection, since it's the first one out from the main bit of emergency street, I've cut off right turns for everyone but emergency services, with the exception of this dedicated right turning lane, of course, just ignore that a little bit. But for the rest of this, we should have a nice tidy emergency services loop all the way up the tippity top here, and also allowing the emergency services to dip in here. Get that wide lane on. And then once we get back out, because it's emergency services, I'll leave an unsafe left connection. But we don't want to use that. We just want this nice little simple setup. And I've really stripped back the old pedestrian crossings there as well. And why didn't we just skip this bit for now? You know, just real casually skip around here. Set up the rest of these little connections. Which when it's not the first node off, we go dangerous connections from the emergency lane everywhere. Left lane goes left and straight, right lane goes right, everyone goes everywhere else, including these two lanes down here, and that's your priority. Big priorities coming in, yield on the alleys, and just a regular out priority coming down. Now I did just realise I completely skipped over Thornton Street here. This is a tidy little access. Coming off Thornton Street, you've got your right turns in any way you need to go, your left turns on the opposite direction. Only from the left lane though, the right lane gone straight, just like the left lane how I had gone straight. Coming out of the estate, you can go left or right, it's up to you. Just steer to the emergency service lane. And priorities, you're crossing lanes, so you're yielding, and so are ye. But we're going to give priority to the old emergency services and the straight ahead there. And that's how we're going to set up these little intersections. I'm just up here at the school, and I come to the last little bit intersection here. And because this is slightly different, we've got the emergency service lane on the left instead of on the right going the opposite direction. There's not all that much difference. We're still making sure everybody can get into the lanes that they need to. That the left lanes are only turning left, that the right lanes are only turning right, and that the straight lanes are only going straight. And I believe that's this little lane set up so you can get across anywhere you need to get to from these lanes. And the way we're going to sort that out is with priorities. If you're crossing, you're yielding. If your emergency services all kind of straight ahead, you've got priority through there. And look at how well our streets flow now. At least up until here, because we haven't got up to this section yet. We've got no bloody emergency lines scanning around. And we need to sort that out. I have most certainly saved the mentalist till lastest. And we've waited so long to get this done. We had to get this bad lad in first. The old rectangle about. Get the road connection all lined back up. So we can come in here and upgrade this bad lad to be a bloody emergency services lane in there. Although, you know what? I have actually enjoyed having a little bit of access up here. I might turn Sunset Street into a 2-lane street all the way. Let's see, we can do the top half of the upgrade easily enough, especially with a bit of snapping on. You just bring the upgrade doing like that and suddenly it's 2 lanes, no traffic, happy days. The only issue I foresee is this bit of road here because it's going to have to get upgraded too. That's right. They're 5-lane asymmetric with red middle. And can I use a little bit of snapping? Make it look good? I think that's the best way because then we can keep that path on the side aligned there. I will do that there. Get on it. And we need to remove the upgrade of this little bus lane on the edge. And I wonder if I can save this bit of zoning here. And I'm paused. I'll happily pause for a bit of zone saving. Oh, and now I can't delete that bit of bloody path. You know, I'm going to make the executive decision to save one of these businesses. Do we save Lodge's Travels or Brag and Roost? Brag and Roost is slightly higher along on the old I want to get some money in my pocket scale. So, big on you. Control PU. And I guess we have a game to click around until we get the same skin that we currently have. Now I do believe that's the same skin there. Well, we just need to get someone advertising in there. So let me delete the handful of motels that I placed here. And bask in the glory of our big hotel there. Sorry, motel. Motel on the corner. I wonder who's going to move in. There were 2 businesses here. Now there's no competition. Or at least not yet. Because no one's going to move in while they've got loads of bloody roads being pulled up and that and left, right and centre. For example, this little alleyway where they're going to pull up and turn into an emergency lane. Oh, of course you've messed with the bloody zoning hour here. Can I fix this at all? Not really is the answer to that. So, yeah, nah, go find somewhere else to live. Oh, look at this. We've got a business in here straight away. I like it. The Lodge's Travels is back in tune. On the same corner. Now let me quickly officialise and make this nice and tidy here. Now of course the emergency services can turn right, but we're not going to advertise that fact. Just like we're not going to advertise the fact they can turn left from there either. I do believe that's this little bit of road here set up. We've got our emergency service lines here, aka taxi/bus lines. Now I was tempted to make this little connection here, so that cars didn't have to cross the old emergency lane, but it's alright. It's alright. I can't foresee there being any problems cars crossing on here. I mean cars crossing on here. Now this lane, quite simple. They need to be taking right turns off there. That's what the roundabout at the top's for. And there you go. Nice and simple. No crossovers. And they need to be stopping. Especially when I remove all of the bloody pedestrian crossings there. And people coming up here can access their houses here straight from this bit of road. They don't have to go all the way around the top. I mean, they are missing out on the magnificence that is the rectangle about. But the old roundabout, drivers didn't like it. Look at the traffic flow around here with our emergency services lanes knocking about. It's bloody lovely, innit? But we do have one big issue that we need to sort out. If we get into our actual emergency service coverage, you can see that somehow we've managed... There it is. We've got the big red line there. No connectivity for police or bloody fire and rescue. Now, I don't know why we have healthcare coverage over there. Surely it's the same issue. The issue being is if an ambulance wanted to go, say, to this house here because of something knocking about, the ambulance had to leave the hospital, gone all the way around to here, connect up, gone up through here onto this little path, because remember, this bit of motorway wasn't here. They had to go out onto the motorway somewhere, either all the way out to the Grafters Split here, so they could get off, turn around on this motorway, come all the way back down the Grafters Split motorway to then exit the motorway, get on the underground tunnels, and then boom, yeah, you're at the house. Happy days. Quick as that. Less than ideal, isn't it? Less than ideal. But I thought about that. If you remember, underneath this bit of motorway here, right at the end, we have the emergency services U-turn. So the emergency services can U-turn here before they tackle the old spiral about here. And look, it is a spiral about. I'm not just making names up. But that's still having to go all the way out the city just to go all the way back in, potentially dealing with a fair dinkum amount of traffic just to get to this house here. So, why don't we connect a little public transport tunnel? And that's as best as I can get it. Oh, he's just leveled up as well. I'm saving that house. But if we plop this tunnel down, pause the game. The reason I wanted the tunnel there, because look how close it got to the actual lane. I couldn't beat that if I bloody tried, eh? So, level 3, literally just got to level 3 as well there. Let me plop you down there. And then this peasant level 2 building, I suppose I'll rescue that as well, just so I can rescue you. And there we go. You're kicking off about zoning for some reason. Can I save you? Ah, yeah, right. Let's get the paths out. And then we can delete the paths again. And we have the zoning back. Everyone's happy. Now, I really want to put retaining walls on here, but I'm scared if I do that, it's going to, like, upgrade and annoy and, like, break all of that. So what do sound barriers look like? Not too bad, but I'm going to have to see what the retaining walls look like. Oh, much better, and it didn't break everything. I'm glad I done that. Right now, please don't break everything. I'm going to turn off all of these little upgrades here and hope that we can get some upgrades without breaking the whole world. Please don't break the whole world. Oh, you can see it flicking between being red and not. So it's red there. Please, fingers crossed, don't break this. It didn't break it. It didn't bloody break it. Everyone can still live here. And we've got the nice emergency red lane going all the way into the connection here. Can we see it poking through? There it is, look. Let me turn the focal length up here for you. There you go, and you can just see it peeking through there, can't you? You can see the little emergency transport lane there. Alright, let's get the focal length. Oh, not that far back up though, but back up to something normal where I'm not lagging like anybody's business. Oh, I love that little connection there, the little emergency services connection. Now, we are going to have to, real casually, unfortunately, delete that. Or are we? Look, I'll leave it connected for now, but I am not against deleting that and making it an unsafe connection. And now, this bit here doesn't need to be emergency lane either. This can just go back to being a regular old. Don't know why there's two of them, but custom 1 lane 2 alley. And there's our emergency setup there. I bloody love it. Can I mess around with the old crossings, remove them from here, but add them on there? I can't! I am still going to need this one over here though, unfortunately. Ah, nah, feck it. And look at our big emergency lane there. And if we have a look at our lovely little fire rescue, we now have green down here as well as for our police. Mad fast access from the old stations. Now, don't you just love this expressway here with all of its off-ramps for the emergency services, particularly the first one where you can follow it round. You can go up here. Oh, I love this bit of motorway, man. It's so bloody good. Anyway, enough gushing. We've done so much gushing about this, but it's so cool. Look at it. Proper emergency services lanes all it everywhere. If you live in Terrace Hills and have an emergency, you'll be buzzing about all these new road upgrades that have come about. But even with all of those upgrades, we're still having the odd electricity issue. Again, we aren't actually generating any at the moment. And it's costing us a little bit of money, to say the very least. Thankfully, we've got a tidy bit of profitability on our roads, education and research, and most importantly, transportation. Because if it wasn't for that, we'd be hemorrhaging money on our lecky at the moment. And we have got a little over $1.5 million to do something with. We also have a massive loan, so we could pay a fair whack off that and take 10% interest off. Look at how much of that red bar disappears if I do that. But then again, 230 grand on electricity. So do we go with option 1? Pay off a good chunk of this loan here. Do we go with option 2, which is investing in some proper lecky infrastructure here? Or do we go option 3, bulldoze this cheap housing here and unlock a police headquarters? Now treat all of these lovely folks here that have just been displaced from their cheap housing. They'll be happy to know that the people they left behind will be much safer. Knew that we got the German police headquarters in. But they certainly won't be happy about leaving a great tune behind. I'll take that little bit of cash influx and unlocking the Rejigging building. The Rejigging building was saved in the 1960s from being torn down for modern high-rises by wealthy entrepreneur Careless Vanderbilt, and has served as the main store for his art of business ever since. Many local artists sell art through his boutiques. Well, that's another building we're going to have to get plopped. But we were in desperate need of having a proper police headquarters like. This bad lad gotta be operating in there, and the reason we needed that so badly is this place doesn't fit anymore. And it uses all of its police cars trying to patrol everything. Not fun. German police station? We are not bulldozing you. We are relocating you all the way to the Grafters Split. And I kind of want to pop them here where the old coal plant used to be, but that's not really ideal, is it? We've got a big new budding part of the industry over here that's surely going to expand. Otherwise, why would we have spent all of the money on this big expressway here? So I reckon the best place for this cop shop to be is right here on the entrance. And it even actually sort of fits. I reckon that fits good enough to go right there. Just tell the drivers not to clip the hedge on the way out. And as I've done from time to time, sometimes you just have to park your car in a hedgerow. I just realised how that sounds. I actually like to deliberately park your car in a hedgerow with the hedge owner's permission. I didn't mean come hurtling off a country road into a hedgerow. I've only almost done that. But now we've got a job in cop shop in the Grafters Split. We can see you're no longer patrolling Terrace Hills or Evergreen Swamp. You're the Grafters cop shop, pal. And now that cop shop's gone, we can go and delete Grafters Lane here, which is just poking out onto the road. And look, it even sort of fixed the bump there. You know, I have a feeling we're going to have to redraw some of this road here to get it a bit happy. Let's just delete back to here. And we need to work quick because I didn't set up any sort of bloody additional connections up here. And there we have it. Back in action. Or at least we should be. Aye, look, we even have power back in the park there. Now let's re-upgrade these bit of roads here. Now, like I was saying earlier, unfortunately, it doesn't upgrade the actual lines on this roundabout, which is unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is, isn't it? For now, we need to set up this little connection, which means removing the traffic lights, all of the pedestrian crossings, and sorting out our last little bit of emergency laneage here. And you know what? I didn't like this because it requires cars to cross like that for no reason when we could easily sort that out. But instead of using our custom road with it in the middle, just use the regular old asymmetric road. Get it on like that. Upgrade an emergency services lane on the side. Remove all the traffic lights that have came back. And now we have our emergency lane turning left there, as well as our regular lane turning left there. And they're not crossing each other. Now, if only the same could be said for this side. The only thing with this side is, even if it was on the other side, they'd still be crossing each other, so it's RG. Or actually, I think my little 5-lane asymmetric custom road might come in handy here. Let's upgrade this bad lad. Aye, a little something like that. Remove the actual upgrades there. And now we're cooking. Perfect little intersection. Now, do we even need to mess with the priorities? I wish there was a way I could turn yielding off here, like, there's no need for it. I guess these two are having priority, and you turning right have to yield. There we're gone. Sorted. And that actually is our emergency services routing. Sorted. We've got our emergency lines going all the way round, underground into the main motorway entrance, all the way round the top here again into the little terrace. And we've got our little emergency split shortcut going all the way round here. And if the emergency services want to get out to Evergreen Swamp, that's what this little connection up here is for. So they can get straight in and across without having to go across any motorways. Well, they do go across the motorways, just, you know, they don't use them. They bypass said motorways. Now, this is only half the battle here. The other half of the battle is getting the emergency services to actually use the correct lanes, as we can see. Surely at this point they're going to dive into the left lane. Dude, are you for real not going to use the dedicated lane that I've just put in all around the city for you? Why didn't we pretend we didn't see that? And we can just be like, look at this lovely emergency transport lane that we put in. I mean, to be fair, as it currently stands with little to no traffic knocking about anywhere. What the actual... This is only here for pedestrians. And the cars are clogging it up. But looking at our heat map here, we already know what's going on down there. Some dodgy little sideways alley shenanigans. The worst bit is up in here, however, I'm pretty sure that's just due to the sheer amount of pedestrians we've got knocking about here. It's a fair whack of them. And look at our little German estate coming along here. Coming along wonderfully, might I add. Well, once we get rid of these bloody hedges that are in the way of the pedestrians, it's coming along bloody lovely, I may say. And are we about to see some emergency services using the emergency service lane? Go on, get in your own dedicated lane. Get past the bloody... It turns out the Garbos are better at gunning. Well, I suppose they're not on the blues and twos at the moment. And look at our little back alley motorway here. Getting plenty of use. And everyone's just using it correctly, turning off, not going up the big red emergency services lane, because it's not for ye. Unless you're emergency services, of course. But yeah, now peeps, come back in the next episodes, where we are going to completely and utterly sort out pedestrian traffic. Apart from this bit, I like this bit. I think I'm going to do my very best to keep this crossing across the little uni here. But there are some things we need to sort out for pedestrians. Just the odd thing here and there. But until then, enjoy a little bit of traffic flow on our lovely rectangular boot, our back alley motorway, and our little emergency services shortcuts. And I'll see yous next week for that big old pedestrian episode. Let-oodles.